So what I did here was, it was a little plastic ring that sit down over the old oil pump to hold the shaft in place. And I just prized that ring off very carefully by getting a couple of screwdrivers up under the edges of it, because I didn't want to crack or break this piece of plastic. And the way this works, as far as I understand it so far, is that this shaft has an end that looks like a little bit like a screwdriver head, but not really. What I mean by that is it's not sharp enough, but there is an end with a slot in it, and that slot fits inside of this slot. Excuse me, I got choked up on something here, like this. And this little plastic piece fits down over this to keep that all locked into place, more or less. Pretty much like that. And then this shaft goes down into the motor, and it drives, or it's driven by the gear on the end of the cam, which drives the gear on the end of the distributor. Let me find a distributor here. There's one right here. So this is a pretty much a stock Chevy distributor. You see there's a cam, there's a gear here, and there's a gear on the end of the camshaft. And then this piece goes up into that piece, and that's what drives the pump when all these pieces are together. And the camshaft is tied in there too. I get this camshaft right here. So this gear goes with that gear to turn this thing when the camshaft turns. So the next, that's the old camshaft, so I'm not too worried about it. So the next thing to do here will be to put the oil pump onto that, and there's a gasket that goes in the bottom of that oil pump, which is, I guess, a little surprising. I mean, I'm not worried about that the oil pump's going to leak oil inside the oil pump, but I'm guessing it needs to probably seal up good for the sake of oil pressure such as that, if for no other good reason. So what I'll do is I'll clean up this little spot where that sits real good, and we'll slip a gasket onto that, and then we'll slip that into place there. Now if my timing chain was to come today, then I could put it on and put the oil pan back on here. I'm pretty disappointed with my timing chain being as late as it is. I ordered a lot of my other parts from Summit and Jegs and stuff like that. And the timing chain, I thought, well, I'm not going to do anything special for a timing chain. I'm not putting a like super duper high performance chain, just a plain old regular Chevy timing chain will do. And so I just ordered one up from Amazon. Well, it almost never came, and lately they've been sending me messages saying it's coming, it's going to be here any day now, just hang on to your horses, don't give up on us, and stuff like that. So I don't know why on Friday it was in some state not that far from here, I didn't think, and then like the next day it was in a different state, and it seems like it's all on the way, but it must be driving with Miss Daisy trying to get it here. It seems like it's taking them forever. So I should have a gasket in here for that. Nice there. Oh, let's take a look. I don't see a gasket for that. I wonder Maybe this didn't have a gasket for those very reasons. Like I was saying, it's all down inside of here, inside the oil pan. So maybe there is no gasket for that. Yes, that could make sense. Let's see if there's anything in the box if that came in. Not a thing, just the other than the pump. So maybe that pump just drops down in there and bolts into place. We can set it over here and see what we think about it. One of the things they did say to do was make sure the clearance was good here. I don't know if y'all can see how close that is, but it's very close. Let me this light. I'll try setting this light right over here. Maybe that'll work so that you can see. So it's set in there to make sure the lobes on the crankshaft didn't interfere with it. Well, here's the bottom of the oil pump. Here's the lobe they're talking about. You see how close that comes there, but it doesn't touch. Boy, that's close, but it doesn't touch. So I got the bolt right here that came out of that. I have a tendency to dismember things and use a sort of gravity-fed storage system whereby I lay something on the ground and hopefully it'll be there when I get back to it. Pretty good summation of me and my style. I'm going to just clean that bolt up a little bit and then we'll slip that down into place there. And it does have one of these little gadgety looking washer thingies on it. Oh, the joy. So my timing chain said it was in Massachusetts on Friday. And then it said it left Massachusetts early this morning. I don't know if that means that it's on its way up to the FedEx place or where it's at. But you'd think it would just come on along. I'd love for it to get here. Now the other thing that goes here is the oil tube. This is the oil intake tube, which I've cleaned out, I think, pretty good. And I'm going to put it back on. This one didn't come with a new tube. Some of them did, but it cost you, quite a few more bucks to get the one with the fresh, shiny new tube on it. And I thought, well, it's a low budget deal here. I can take and reuse this one, and washed it out pretty good. And this will go on here like that. It seems upside down, but the motor's upside down because the oil's going to come in from here. And somebody said to measure the distance between here and the deck of the block. But to be honest with you, I'm thinking as long as it's level with the, not sitting all wonky jawed like that. Good enough. I might go look at where I saw that. I saw that somewhere about measuring that. I might go see if I can locate whatever that was. It's probably on YouTube. Probably some YouTube advice. I wonder if there is a torque recommendation for that. Let's see what we got here. spark plug, cylinder head, intake, exhaust, rocker, connecting rod, main bearing, flywheel, and vibration dampening pulley. So apparently they did have on some of these, yeah, you can tell by the way it's marked there, some of these did have a bolt in the end of the pulley and some of them didn't. The 283 didn't. So I'm going to, just for the sake of good measure, go in the house and find the amount, not the amount, what am I trying to say? Go in the house and find the inches that they were recommending for that right there. It's going to be a 9/16, which I got one. It's here. And that's not a 9/16. This must be an 11/16. I thought it was a 5/8. Yep, it's 11/16. I'll get me one of them. 5/8. I said I was going to go in the house and look at that, and I'm not going to. I'm going to let my lazy man ways get the better of me, and I'm going to go ahead and hammer that in where I think it goes. And then what I can do is when I go in the house, and I'm sitting there later this evening trying to figure out what to do with all these videos, I can look that up. I'm thinking that this should be level with the bottom of the motor. A little bit of my DNA was in there.